Hi there. Today I'm going to walk you through my Module 13 project for our mobile food delivery app. So first I'm going to start by logging in with some fake credentials. And you'll see here that it says invalid email and password. Instead, I'll log in now with a correct email and password. Okay, so you can see we're logged in here. Here's the main page. We have our icon and logging out functionality at the top. You can search for restaurants here. I'll just scroll through those briefly. And then you also have the ability to filter by rating and price. As you can see, all of the assets are showing correctly, all of the images and the color scheme. You can see all of the restaurants correctly without the filter, and then we can go ahead and go in. We can start filtering by the rating. So here's anything that's 4 stars. You can also do 3 and up. So you can see then that I can also filter by price. So we'll go ahead and narrow it down to a moderate restaurant, or if I have anything a little more upscale, you'll see that it'll just show me the one result. And then I can also do that in reverse. Go ahead and unselect all of those filtering options, and then that'll take me back to the main restaurant page with everything listed for me. Next, we can click on one of the restaurants and it'll take me to the individual restaurant menu for them. After that, we can go ahead and we can check out the menu item quantities. So initially they're all set to 0. We can't click, you can't see me click, but you can't go under 0. So I can't, have -1 or anything like that. We can go ahead and use these plus and minus buttons to filter through what we would like to order. So I'll just order a couple things here. And I don't know if you saw it, but if I unselect these, this create order button is grayed out. So you can't push that until you've selected a few menu options. Next, I'll click create order. This will take me to the order confirmation menu, and you can see all of my menu items that I selected and then the accurate total there for how much everything costs. And I can go ahead, I can exit out of this if I'm not ready to order, or again, I can go ahead and click create order, and then I can confirm that order and it will process my order. So you see the processing there, and we're all set. That order processed successfully. We didn't get a red error. Next, I'm going to walk through. I want to walk through the order history. So I want to find that order real quick that we just created. And you can see here in the order history, it has things like the order date and time, the status is that it's pending, and then you can see again the correct amount reflected here. So I'll go ahead and close that. Let's see what else. Everything else is pretty standard. So all of the options here, we can go back out to that main menu. I think the last thing to show here is just logging out. Again, all of our color schemes and our overall view here is based off of the wireframes and the color schemes provided. The icons that are shown here are the same or very similar to the icons provided in the wireframe as well. So this is, again, the iPhone view of the app. And I'll go ahead and log out here so you can see that functionality as well. And then I'll take us back out to the main page. I'm going to run through the same functionality here as I did in my last section video. And we're going to run through here on Android as a Samsung Galaxy. And you can see all the same functionalities. So Here, I'm going to enter the incorrect credentials, and you can see that it did invalid email or password error. I'm going to enter the correct ones now. And we're taken here to the same page where I can scroll through the restaurants. I can filter by ratings. I can click through and select some menu items. Also can unselect some menu items. It grays out that create order. So I'm just going to order a bunch of these eggs and create an order here. I'll go ahead and confirm my order, and you can see it processing. Success message at the end. One thing I forgot to show is that when we navigate back out to the restaurants page, it will basically dump these items, so it won't keep them when I navigate to the next restaurant. So you can see everything's unselected here, and I can go through and I can create an order, and it'll be totally different from the last restaurant I was just at. So I can go ahead and check out my order history here, just like I did in the last section. You can see all the same details are here. The UI is all the same. And the you can go ahead and close that order. Trying to think of anything else you can do here. Some more filtering. And then again, unfiltering. And then we'll log out. There you go. That was the Android version. Now we want to take you to the back end where we can talk through some of these mobile specific changes that we made. So first, I want to talk through using React Native. This is giving us the ability to do some cross-platform mobile development, so we can develop for iOS and Android just from one code base. And then I also used Expo Go to kind of simplify the development workflow, and it made testing easier on my actual iPhone. And then also, I use the actual web element too. If somebody were using this, on the web, just like on Google Chrome, to make sure it could also work there as well. So I'll take you through first on this index page that's like checking the authorization and redirecting and dealing with some of the mobile session management. And when we move in here to the login, that's handling all of the actual login to the app logic. So any validation and then successfully routing to the next part. On the restaurants page here, we're listing out, all of the restaurants and including the images here. And then this also includes some of the mobile specific components. So if we scroll down a little more here, we have the use of like a flat list, which can optimize some of the scrolling. So for large lists, like a page of restaurants or a page of orders, it kind of just makes that experience a little more seamless. We also have some of the modals here that create overlays. So when you're filtering or doing some of the order confirmation, and then some activity indicators when you're like loading like a spinner or clicking something that creates an action that has to wait for some feedback. It's also available here off of the orders page as well. A few other things that make developing for mobile apps more unique is persisting the user throughout the entire application. So being able to decode that token, get the user ID from the token, and keep that user logged in, and you know have them keep their token throughout the entire experience rather than logging them out between page views or tab shifts is really important. It also includes some of the auto login functionality. So say, you're already logged into an app. That that app shouldn't log you out after you close the window or close the tab or switch to another tab. So, say from this app to Google Chrome or Instagram or something like that. So, that's really important for apps is to not be logged out. Some of the other services here are connecting to our APIs for our orders, for our restaurants, and for our products. So, this is, grabbing all of the connecting to the endpoint and grabbing all of the information and either adding it to the database or getting it from the database. For example, the products is not something that changes very often. It's pretty standard once those are in there. So this is grabbing everything from the back end, the products, the pricing, all of that. Similar to the restaurants where it's grabbing all of the restaurant information and feeding that in. And then the orders is something that changes a little more frequently because you're kind of feeding back into the individual orders, and that goes into, like the order details page and things like that once the order is actually created. So yeah, and then we have also assets. So I used some of the custom fonts that were mentioned, the awesome icons for like the burger icon on the restaurant tab and a few other icons. And then some of the included restaurant images were loaded as mobile assets, and then the logo as well. So those are all available in here.